Hello, everyone. Welcome to the session of Structural Organization in Animals, Theory Part 1. And today's lecture, we are going to cover up the NCRT section 7.1 and 7.2.1. Disclaimer. So, today's session, learning objective to understand and identify different types of animal tissue, their location, characteristics, and functions. And we are going to study about the morphology of frog also. So to understand the external morphology of frog and its adaptation to the land and water. Index, organ and organ system, right? So that is the 7.1 section of the NCRT that is we are going to cover up today. And another part, frogs morphology, that is the 7.2.1 section. There will be the summary of the chapter at the end. Then there will be some NCRT based questions. There will be keynotes. And at the end, there will be some interesting questions for you that you all are going to solve that. Okay, so let us start today's session. Unicellular organism perform all life functions through a single cell, right? So unicellular organisms are made up of just one single cell. All the metabolic activities are going to perform in that cell only. And the very good example of the unicellular organism is eukaryotic unicellular organism is amoeba, right? Multicellular organism have the different groups of cells for the specific functions. So, what is the difference between unicellular and multicellular organism? In the case of multicellular, like there will be the different groups of cells. Okay, different groups of cells, and that group of cell will perform a one particular function. And see in the unicellular organism, only one cell is there, and inside one cell, all the functions are performed by that cell only, right? So that is not much specific as we see in the case of multicellular organism. Hydra has a thousands of different types of cells. So this is one of the examples of the Hydra, like multicellular organism. Human body contain billions of cells. Another example, human body, right? Human body is also having the millions of cells, right? And we are having not only the tissue type of system, organ based system, we are having organ system level of organization. We are having the different types of system in our body: circulatory system, respiratory system, digestive system, skeletal system, muscular system, and reproductive system, right? And a group of similar cells with the intercellular substances from a tissue. So, what happens in the tissue? Many cells unite together. Okay, they are of similar structure. They are of similar structure, and they are originated from the same origin. Their origin is same, and they unite together to perform one particular function that is called as tissue. So here we can see the unicellular organism in the form of amoeba, and all the metabolic activities are occurring inside the amoeba only, unicellular, one cell. But here you see in the case of multicellular organism, Hydra, this is a multicellular organism, right? And they are forming the tissue, and they are having the, you can say, the different structure. There is a mouth, then there is a reproductive organ, testes, ovaries, there is an epidermal cells layer. Inside this, there is a gastrovascular cavity, right? So, and you can see they are having the one of the unicellular organism, paramecium inside their gastrovascular cavity. It means that they eat that particular organisms, right? Now we will talk about the animal tissue. Okay. Tissue, a group of similar cells along with the intercellular substances that perform a specific function. So they are having the different intercellular substances inside. Intercellular substances means the cell is made up of many things. They are having the nucleus, they are having the cytoplasm, right? And different organelles. So, a group of similar cells, very important, similar cells, all the cells are of similar type, they form a group, and these similar cells have been originated from the same origin. Their origin is also same, right? And they unite together to perform a one particular function that is called as tissue. So tissue are organized to form organ. Now the next level, after cells, they forms the tissue, and after tissue, different tissue. There are not only one type of tissue, there are different types of tissue. So different tissue organized together to form organs. Organs like stomach, this is one organ. Lung, this is another organ. Heart and kidney, right? So these are the name of the organ. And if you see the organ, they are made up of different types of tissue. There is a epithelial tissue, there is a muscular tissue, right? So many types of tissue unite together to form organ. Organ associate to form a functional organ system, and many organ unite together to form organ system like the digestive or the respiratory system. Taking an example of the digestive system, it starts with the mouth, right? There is a buccal cavity, there is a pharynx, there's a esophagus, then comes the stomach, then there is the intestine. In intestine also there are two different types. You can divide the intestine into two parts regarding based on their lumen, right? Small intestine and large intestine. And then there is a rectum, then the last end of part of the alimentary canal, that is the anus. So these many organs unite together to form a system that is called as digestive system. Similarly, we are having the respiratory system as well. Respiratory system, it's start from your nostrils. Then there is a pharynx, nasal chamber, pharynx. Then there is a trachea. Then comes the tracheal tube. Okay. Then bronchi. There are different levels of bronchioles. Level 1, level 2, right? And then at the end, the bronchioles opens into the alveoli, and many alveoli unite together to form the lungs. So many organs here in the case of respiratory system as well. And similarly, other organ system also are made up of by the joining of the different organ. Okay. So here you can see cells combine together, many cells unite together, and those cells are of similar type. Okay, they forms the tissue. Now different tissue unite together to form the organ, and many organ unite together to form the organ system. So here this is an example of the digestive system. You can see there is a small intestine, there is a large intestine, there is a stomach. So that are the parts of your digestive system, right? Introduction to tissues. So there are four basic types of animal tissue. If we talk about the tissue, then there are four different types of tissue. The first one is the epithelial tissue that forms the lining of the different organ, and even our the alimentary canal is having the lining of this epithelial tissue. Connective tissue. Then there is a muscular tissue that forms the muscles, right? Connective tissue. For example, we are having the ligament and tendons. These are the two different types of connective tissue. Then at the end, there is a neural tissue that makes your nervous system. So we can see the four different types of tissue here. Four different types of tissue. Connective tissue, you can see the structure. Epithelial tissue, muscle tissue, and we are having the nervous tissue, right? So the first, we will talk about the epithelial tissue. It is also called as epithelium. It is also called as epithelium. Structure: cells are compactly packed with a little intercellular matrix. If you see the cells of the epithelial tissue, they are compactly packed. There is no space in between the cells. Okay, and very little amount of intercellular matrix is present. It is something like you are having the two brick, and in between the brick there is a cementing material is there. Like, so similarly, there are the two cells. If you see the two cells of the epithelial cells, then in between the cell there is very little amount of intercellular matrix is there. Okay, intercellular matrix is there. So that helps to join the tissue, the epithelial cells. It helps them to join together and form the epithelial tissue. There has a free surface with face either a body fluid or outside the environment. Your skin is also a type of epithelial tissue. So that is facing outside environment, right? Our skin is made up of epithelial tissue only, right? And your skin is facing what? To the environment. So epithelial tissue can face the environment. And even when it is present inside our body, think about your alimentary canal, your mouth, then pharynx, esophagus, stomach. Every part is lined inside with the epithelial tissue only. So whether it faces the body fluid or it can also face the environment. So what is its function here? The function is protection. Outer lining of the organ system. They are the best tissue that forms the lining, outer lining of the different organ system, right? So rest on the non-cellular basement membrane. So just below it, there is a non-cellular membrane. This is not a membrane. This is not a cellular membrane actually, but this is a basement type of membrane, and our epithelial tissue rests on it. Function: provides covering or lining for some part of the body. Okay, so they actually cover up our body. They forms the lining and it is helping to cover the body. So here you can see the connective tissue and you can see this blue color, that is the basement membrane. And if you see the structure of the cell, right, it is having the cytoplasm, and inside the cytoplasm there in the center there is a nucleus as well, right? So just below the basement membrane, what is present? Connective tissue. So in this way the epithelial tissue are organized, and you can see there is a no space in between the cells, so it is very compactly packed. A very little amount of intercellular matrix is present there. Now, types, we are having the different types of epithelial tissue. There is not just one. The number one, simple epithelium, composed of single layer of cells, only one layer of cells of epithelial tissue. Then there is a compound epithelium, consists of two or more cell layers. Compound. So there could be 2 layer, 3 layer, 4 layer, right? And that is why it is called as compound layer. So this is the simple epithelial tissue. Characteristic: most abundant and widely distributed tissue in the body. We are talking about the connective tissue, another type of tissue that is called as the connective tissue, and it is the most abundant and widely distributed tissue in the body. Named connective because its function is to link and support the tissues or organ. It helps to join the tissue to tissue. It helps to join the organ, or you can say the tissue, to the bones. That is also a type of connective tissue. Bone is also a type of connective tissue only. We are also having a fluid connective tissue, our blood. Our blood is also a type of tissue only, and that is very famous. That is called as a fluid connective tissue, right? It has abundance of the extracellular matrix composed of cells, right? So this connective tissue, they are having a lot of extracellular matrix. Matrix means a basement substance. It is not a cellular. It is basement substance, and in this basement substance many cells are embedded. Many cells are embedded. So here you can see the dense connective tissue. There is an adipose tissue that also stores the fat material, right? Areolar tissue, a type of connective tissue. Compact bones, you can say, see this. Bone is also a type of connective tissue, and our blood, that is also a type of connective tissue. So here you can see the different types of connective tissue. Consist of cells embedded in the intercellular matrix. So there is a matrix, and inside this matrix many cells are embedded. So the matrix is a non-living material. The matrix is a jelly-like substance. So that is not a living material, but it is composed of a ground substance and fibers. But your cells that are embedded inside the matrix, that is the living material. That is the living material. Fibers. Now, they are talking about the fibers that is present in this matrix part. Fibers, collagen fiber is there, or it is also called as elastin. It provides strength, elasticity, and flexibility. So this is one type of fibers that are present in the connective tissue. Exception: blood is a fluid connective tissue without fibers. It is not having fibers. The fibers is formed at the time of blood clotting, but at normally it is not having any type of fibers in it, in the blood. Now we will talk about the specialized connective tissue, that is the blood. Blood is a vital bodily fluid that circulates throughout the body, right? And this is one of the very important type of tissue, and it is very special tissue, right? It is very unique, even you can say. Unique in the sense because it is moving. This tissue is moving from one place to another in the body, and we can pump it with the help of our another organ that is called as heart, right? That is a pumping organ. So this pumping organ is pumping a type of tissue, that is blood, right? So carrying essential substances and performing circulate function. It is not only carrying the essential substance. What are the essential substance? Oxygen and the nutrients. Oxygen and nutrients, right? But they are also helping in removal of the unwanted material. That material that could be deleterious to us, right? It is harmful to us. So that is a gaseous substance, that is carbon dioxide, right? And another substances that are toxic to our body, nitrogenous waste material. So this blood is there to remove it from our body. So it's slightly alkaline. You can see the pH. The pH varies 7.35 to 7.45. So this is the pH of the blood. And its viscosity about 5 times that of the water. So you know water, how viscous it is, right? And because this blood is having a lot of protein, it having the cellular component also, so it become viscous. How much viscous? 5 times than the water. It is the comparison, right? And at a temperature 38 degrees centigrade, because the viscosity, okay, viscosity changes by the change of temperature. So it is taken at the room temperature, that is 38 degrees centigrade, and at that temperature our blood is 5 times viscous than the water. 5 times viscous than the water. So here you can see the elements of the blood, right? You can see the white blood cells about 4%. Plasma, plasma. Our blood is made up of the plasma part and it is having the cellular component. So plasma part is 55%. Red blood cells, 41%. Platelets, 0.01%. And our white blood cells, that is related to immunity in our body because it fight with the germs, right? And remove all the harmful bacteria and viruses from our body. So it is 4%. So we are having the different types of WBC: monocyte, eosinophils, right? Neutrophils, basophils, and lymphocyte. Sorry. Major components of blood. So here you can see the major component of the blood. We are having the plasma part, that is the 55% by the volume. We compare it with the volume, then it is 55%, right? What are the characteristics? Yellowish liquid, 90% of water. The plasma is made up of 90% water. It contains proteins, nutrients, and different hormones because the glands, the endocrine glands, they secrete out the hormones. Where? In blood only. So in blood, always this hormone, one or the other hormone is always present, right? So hormone becomes the part of the plasma. Transport blood cells and waste, right? It is helping in the transportation of blood and also the waste substances, Next very important component of the blood is red blood cells. We call it erythrocytes. Okay, it is 40 to 45%. They contain hemoglobin, right? They contain hemoglobin. Transport O2 and CO2. Transport O2 and CO2. And they are produced where? They are produced in the bone marrow. Our long bones are having the bone marrow, and inside the bone marrow, these RBC cells are made. It is always synthesized there because what is the lifetime of RBC? Lifetime of RBC, right? 120 days. After in 120 days, the RBC get degenerated, right? So every time we require new RBC cells, so that is synthesized in our bone marrow. That is synthesized in our bone marrow. So the bone marrow is very, very important. And one more thing, if you we are studying the frog in this particular chapter, and the frog RBC cells are nucleated. They are nucleated. Very important point. If you see the human blood's RBC, human red blood cells, it is enucleated, means it is not having nucleus. It is not having nucleus. But when you see the frog RBC, they do contain nucleus in it. This is very, very important feature and it will come later on also. So I'll emphasize there too. White blood cells. White blood cells is commonly called as leukocyte. Leukocyte. And in this white blood cells, we are having different types of leukocytes, right? So some of the WBCs are they are having granules. You can see the granules in the cytoplasm. So they are called as granulocyte. Whereas some of the WBC or the leukocyte do not have granules in their cytoplasm, they are called as agranulocytes. They are called as agranulocyte. Now you can see in the table as well, granulocyte. The granulocyte are of three different types. Neutrophils, 60 to 70%. 60 to 70%, and they fight with the bacteria. They fight with the bacteria. Eosinophils, 2 to 4%. They combat parasites. Okay. Basophils, less than 1% release histamine, a very, very important substance, histamine, right? And agranulocytes, we are having the two different types of agranulocyte, lymphocyte, 20 to 30%, and they are related to the response, right? We are having the T lymphocyte. You must have heard about the lymphocyte which enter our thymus gland, become T lymphocyte, right? That you will study when you will study about the immunity part of your chapter. Okay, coming to the next agranulocyte, that is the monocyte, 2 to 8%, and they become macrophages. Macrophages. Next is the platelets. Platelets are what? Platelets are the very minute, very minute cellular component. Okay, they are actually the cell fragments. They are actually the cell fragments. They are help in blood clotting, and if they are not present, the blood will not clot. So they are also helping in the wound healing. Coming to the another point, that is the histamine. Histamine is a biogenic amine and chemical signal that play a very important role in the body's inflammatory response and allergic reactions. They are the chemicals that are synthesized by the basophils, right? It is released by the mast cells in the mucous membrane and fight with the infections and regulate the organs. So, if there is some inflammation inside our tissue, it means that there is some infection. So at that time, this histamine is released by the mast cell, right? So they are helping in the allergic reactions, right? Histamine is a signaling molecule sending messages between the cells. It tells the stomach cells to make stomach acid. Stomach acid is very, very important. So histamine is released and asked stomach to make acid, right? So this acid helps to whatever the bacteria, there are a lot of many bacteria, whatever the food material we eat, the bacteria is present with that. So when it comes in inside our stomach, okay, this acid kills them. So this histamine is there to send a message to release these HCl. Okay. Okay, moving forward, blood. What is the function of the blood? Let us see that. Main circulating the fluid that help in the transport of various substances. And in various substances, the two thing is very, very important. That is oxygen and carbon dioxide. So it is helping in the process of respiration. Because if the carbon dioxide will not be removed from there, it will become very, very harmful to our body. Right? And we always require oxygen. Always require oxygen. So think about this. If the blood is not there, then what will happen? We will not get the oxygen, right? It acts as a transportation system for oxygen, nutrients, hormones, and waste product. The waste product that is synthesized in the different tissues. So that is eliminated. That become because that is present now in the blood. The tissue pour all the nitrogenous waste substances in the blood. And when blood circulate in the body, so that nitrogenous waste material reaches to the target organ, that is the kidney. And there all the nitrogenous waste material is excreted out. It is removed from there. It is filtrated from there. And your blood becomes pure at that time with if we see the nitrogenous waste material, right? But still it is deoxygenated. The carbon dioxide is still there, right? It is also helping in the process of nutrient transportation. Inside the intestine, all the digestion takes place, right? The digestion completes in the intestine, and there the nutrients get absorbed. The nutrient get absorbed, right? Where it get absorbed? It is assimilated. It is assimilated in the blood. And when the this blood moves in whole parts of the body, That nutrient is available to the every cell now. So it helps to regulate the body temperature and protect against the infection, right? Because how it is helping in the infection, protecting against the infection, because it is having the WBC, that is playing the immune response. Unlike other connective tissue, the protein fibers like fibrinogen in plasma are not visible until the clotting occurs, right? These fibrinogens are actually not in the fibers form. When there is a requirement of the blood clotting, only at that times these protein transforms into the fibers, right? So here the different blood element that we have already discussed. Okay, muscular tissue composed of long cylindrical fibers arranged in a parallel arrays. And what is the function responsible for the movement in the body? So we are having the different types of muscular tissue, skeletal tissue and smooth muscles, smooth muscular tissue. So they are having the myofibrils, fine fibrils that compose the muscle fibers. These myofibrils are present inside the muscle fibers. Their function is to contract and relax. Muscle fiber contract, that is shorten in response to the stimulation, and then relax, lengthen. So here you can see the structure of the human muscles, right? They are having the, you can see the bone, and this is the tendon part. This is the tendon part. So this is the muscle and this is the bone, and this tendon is helping the joining of the bone and muscles. So this is the group of muscle fiber, and you can see many myofibrils unite together, okay, and form a bundle of this myofibril. Now, this bundle of myofibrils is present in one fascia, right? So this is structure of the human muscle. Skeletal muscle. Skeletal muscle attachment, closely attached to the skeletal bones. The muscles that are attached to the skeletal bones are called as skeletal muscle, and they are basically helping in the process of movement. Appearance, striated. You can see they are having the lining on the muscles, okay, striped muscles. And they, when you see in the microscope, you can see it's a striations on the muscles, and that is why it is commonly called as striated muscles. Control, voluntary, because it is in your control. Whenever you want to run, you can run, because that muscles is in your control. So that is why it is voluntary muscles under conscious control. Function, locomotion and changes in the body posture. Changes in the body posture. Structure, fibers are bundled together in a parallel fashion enclosed by a sheath of connective tissue. So many fibers of the skeletal muscles, they are present in a bundle. Fibers are present in the bundle and they are enclosed by a sheath of connective tissue. So there is a sheath of connective tissue, okay, and all these parallel bundles of the fibers are covered by this connective tissue. So here you can see, these are the different muscle fiber. This is one fiber, and inside this you can see many fibers, and all these are wrapped by the connective tissue, right? So like this, many group of bundles you can see, so that is the muscle bundle. This is the muscle bundle, and you can see this is joined with the bones. So this is a skeletal muscles. Now we will talk about the neural tissue. Unit is neuron, nerve cell, the excitable cells of the neural system. So what is the function of the neuron? And you all know what is the cellular structure of the neuron. There is a cytone part, and from the cytone you can see many dendrites originated. One of the dendrite is longer than the other dendrite, and that is called as axon, right? So what is the function? Exert the greatest control over the body's responsiveness to the changing condition. Okay. whatever the response and the stimulus that we see, right? So neuron cell, if you see neuron cell, we can see the structure here. First of all, here you can see this is the uh, cell part that is having the nucleus, and we are having the different dendrites. These are the and one of the dendrite, you can see it is a longer than the other one, that is called as axon, and at the end there are nerve ending. So many neurons like this, they are joined together to form the nerve fibers. So neuroglia, the rest of the neural tissue that protect the support and neurons. There is another neuroglia is also there and make up more than one half of the volume of the neural tissue. So neuroglia makes the one half of the volume of our neural tissue. There is non-striated and cardiac muscle also. Yes, cardiac muscles are also striated and they are branched. They are branched. But there are non-striated muscles, and that is called as smooth muscles. Smooth muscles are not in our control. Even your cardiac muscles are not in your control. They are involuntary. They both are involuntary muscles, right? So neuron structure, cell body, cyton, you can see, contain the nucleus. Okay, the cell body is also called as cyton, and they are having nucleus there. They are having nucleus. You can see the different dendrites, short fibers branching from the cell body. Axon, a single long fiber. Nerve impulse, when a neuron is stimulated, the electrical disturbance travel along the plasma membrane. So whenever there is a signal, so that signal is transported from one neuron cell to the another through this conduction of the electric impulse, right? Organ and organ system. Organ, two or more types of tissue organized to perform a specific function. So organ, how it is formed? Many different organs unite together to form the organ. And example, heart, composed of epithelial, connective, muscular, and neural tissue. Organ system, when two or more organ perform common function by a physical or the chemical interaction. Okay, we are having the digestive system. That includes the organ, stomach, intestine, liver, pancreas. So many different organs, but they are performing one function, that is the digestion of food, right? So this is the system. The division of labor allows for the efficient survival of the multicellular organism as a whole. So there is a division of labor. In the system also, you can see the liver is having one specific function. The pancreas is having one function. Stomach, that cannot do the function of intestine, and in the same way, the intestine cannot do the function of the stomach. So everyone has given one some or the other task, and they are doing that only. So we can see the clear-cut division of labor in the case of system organization. System organization. So here you can see there are the different types of cells. Okay, the cell unite together to form the tissue. The different tissue unite together to form the organ. Now you can see there are different organ. You can see there is a liver, there is a stomach, pancreas, small intestine, large intestine, and they form the organ system. So that organ system, what is that? Digestive system. Here it is showing the digestive system. And likewise, there are many different system in the organism. There are the nervous system, there is a digestive system, circulatory system, skeletal system, muscular tissue, muscular system. Then there is a reproductive system, right? So many systems are there, and all the systems unite together to form an organism. Now we will talk about the frog, another section, and today we are going to study about the morphology, only external morphology, like how the frog look like, right? So frog, commonly it is called as Rana tigrina. This is the scientific name, not the commonly it is called as frog, but its scientific name is Rana tigrina. Class amphibia, they belongs to the class amphibia. If we talk about the phylum, then phylum Chordata and class Amphibia, and that can live on land and in fresh water. They can live on land and the fresh water, right? So, body temperature. If you talk about the body temperature, then they are cold-blooded or poikilotherms. Means they cannot regulate their body temperature. They cannot regulate their body temperature. Protective coloration, camouflage mimicry. So they show the mimicry, right? They want to hide themselves because there are many organisms. It becomes the prey of many organisms. Snakes eat them, right? Snakes eat this frog. The frog is also eaten by many birds. Hmm? Even some of the country, the frog are eaten by the human as well, right? So for their protection, they do follow the camouflage mimicry. Estivation. Estivation. They go for the summer sleep and winter sleep. We generally see frog very active at the time of rainy season. The rainy season is coming now. So that in that season, you can see. Yes, Rana tigrina is a very common type of frog that is found in India. But there are many other frog as well, right? There are many frog. But this Rana tigrina is the commonest type of frog that we see in the case of India, right? So estivation and hibernation I was talking about. Estivation is also called as the summer sleep. Summer sleep. At this time, the frog reduces its metabolic activity. It reduces, or you can say it takes to the lowest level, right? Metabolic activities are at the lowest level. And at the time of hibernation also, that time also, it reduces its metabolic activity and it's go for the sleep. Go for the sleep. It even respire at that time with the help of skin, right? It makes its skin moist and they take the oxygen from the skin only because they do not require much oxygen for their survival because the metabolic activities are very less. But at the time of rainy season, they eat a lot. They eat a lot and keep the reserve food material inside their body, right? And why they are not having like active at the time of estivation and hibernation? Because of two three reasons. The first is that the availability of water is very less, so their reproduction is dependent upon the water because there is an external fertilization and that happens in the water only. The second thing the second thing, that food availability. At the time of rainy season, they are having a lot of food material available. But at the time of this summer and winter, that is not suitable for them. At this temperature, because they are cold blooded, they cannot regulate the temperature. So excessive heat is not tolerable for them. They cannot tolerate that. And even the very low temperature is also not tolerable by them. So at that time, they go for sleep, right? So here you can see the external feature of frog. The body is divided in the head region and the trunk region, right? They are having the limbs. They are having the limbs. Okay. Absolutely. Absolutely correct you are. That in the rainy season, right? Many insects are there. They can breed at a very high rate. And all that insects that are the food of frog, right? Yes. Okay, coming back, you can see the limbs, four limbs and hind limbs. Okay, the fore limb is hand and the hind limb is their leg. The body can be divisible into head and trunk region. Okay, neck and tail are absent. They are not having any neck and tail. Tail is present at the time of their larval stages. They are larval stages. Yes, but they also require water for their reproduction, right? So this is also one of the reason that they are more active at the time of rainy season. Availability of food is there, water is there for the reproduction, so they can increase their number, right? And the temperature, the third point. That is why I said that there are three reasons. The third is the temperature. That temperature is quite suitable for them. Okay. Skin moist, smooth, and slippery. The slippery, they keep their body slippery so that they could not be cast by the or different organism, right? So that is why they keep their body very slippery. Eyes are bulged and they are covered by the nictitating membrane in the water. So they are having this membrane, nictitating membrane, a very important feature. Limbs, four limbs, four digits. See the digit. Digit means fingers. Four limbs are having four digits only, and the hind limbs they are having the 5 digit, and that too webbed. They are webbed. Webbed because it helps in the swimming process. It helps in the swimming process. So here you can see the 5 digit, and in the forelimb 4 digit only, and that too their hind limb digits are webbed. Morphology: frog skin is smooth and slippery due to the mucus. Lot of mucus is there, so its skin becomes very slippery. Skin is kept moist. They always keep their skin moist. Dorsal side is olive green and the dark spots are there. If you see the coloration, then they are olive green in color, and they are also having some spots on their skin. Ventral side, it is pale yellow, and if you see the ventral side, that is towards the stomach, they are pale yellow in color. Water absorption happens through the skin. They absorb the water to keep their skin moist, and that is through the skin only. Body divided into head and trunk only, so that we have already discussed. Features include the nostrils, bulged eyes with the nictitating membrane. So here you can see the frog. They are having the dry, warty skin. Some places dermal pelvis trunk is there, and this is the head region. You can see the snout. There is also the nostrils through which they can take the oxygen, and there is a tympanic membrane. This is the ear that represent the ear. They are not having external ear. Okay, amphibians are not having external ear. Tympanic represent on both the sides for the sound reception, and has four limbs and hind limbs for the movement. Hind limbs 5 digits and four limbs 4 digits, that we have already discussed. Feet have webbed digit for swimming. So this is the modification. The hind limbs digits are webbed, and that is helping for the process of swimming. Sexual dimorphism: males have the vocal sacs and the copulatory pads. So in this way, you can identify the male frog. They always produce sound. They produce sound to attract the female frog, right? So they are having the vocal sac that produces sound, and they are also having the copulatory pads on their digits. So that is helping to grasp the female frog at the time of copulation, at the time of reproduction. So by these two feature, you can identify the male frog. Now we will talk about the summary. Animal tissue are grouped into the four main types: epithelial tissue, connective tissue, muscular tissue, and nervous tissue, right? Frog morphology. Frogs are amphibians with the distinct external and internal features. So they are having the streamlined body and divided into head and trunk. Streamlined body, and you can see that they are not having any neck region. The body can be divided into two parts, the head and the trunk. Smooth skin, and the skin is always moist. Powerful hind limb for jumping process. Webbed feet for swimming. So you can see the lot of modification in the hind limb, right? Large protruding eyes. Eyes are bulging, so it is protruding outside. Tympanum, that is the external eardrum. Now, NCRT based question. The first question is there. What is the purpose of tympanic membrane in frogs? So this is a question. Let us see the answer. The tympanic membrane, eardrum in frogs serve as the several crucial purpose in their auditory system. First one, the sound reception. It can receive the sound. It acts as a primary receiver of the sound waves from the environment, collecting and transmitting these vibrations to the internal ear. They are having the internal ear, right? So at that point, the voice is increased several times, right? And that is sent to the brain for the reception. Sound amplification. The membrane helps amplify the sound vibration, making the stronger before they reach to the internal ear structures. This is particularly important for detecting the potential mate call for the predator movement, right? So the frogs are having very, very important point. They are having the sound amplification. That is very important because they have to hear the sound that is produced by the male frog, right? The tympanic membrane in frogs several functions. Third is the protection. It protects the delicate inner ear structure from the direct exposure to the environment and potential damage. Species communication. The tympanic membrane is especially important for the male frog to detect mating calls from the female. If they are not able to hear the call from the male frog, then they cannot go for the mating purpose. Predator detection. It helps frog to detect the vibration and sound from the approaching predators and enabling them to react quickly to the threats. And tympanic membrane is visible as a circular disc behind each eye and in most frog species, and it is essential for the survival of both aquatic and terrestrial environment, right? So these are the different features that helps the frog, okay, from the different predators, is communication, right? Next question. How do they differentiate between the male and female frogs? Let us see the answer. Male frogs are typically identified by the presence of the vocal sac, which are used for producing mating cells. Mating calls, actually. Additionally, male frogs have the copulatory pads on their forelimbs and their reproductive system differ internally with the testes rather than ovaries. So these are the, like in this way, the male and female frog differ from each other. Keynotes. Frogs have no ribs. They have fusion of tail vertebrae called urostyle. And their elongated ankle bones provide extra leverage for jumping. Some frog species have third eye, nictitating membrane. This is also called as third eye, this membrane. Many frogs have tympanic membrane visible on either side of the head. And some frogs have a special gland for producing toxin as well. The one type of frog that is called as toad. Actually, toad is a different species. So they are having this toxin producing warts on their skin. Some interesting question that you are going to solve. Differentiate between the various types of connective tissue found in the frog, including their function in support and protection. Explain the structure of and function of the frog vocal sac and how it is involved in the communication and reproduction. Third, what is the role of keratinized cells in the frog's epidermis? And fourth question, why is frog skin described as a moist and permeable. Okay. So this is all about today's session. Okay. And now we will have our DPP, right? So everyone, you can open your DPP and solve it along with me, right? So I'll come in just a minute, and in that time also you can open your DPP. Everyone has to solve that DPP. Okay. So I'll just take a minute and come up with the DPP. So here is the first question. Which of the following tissue is not found in the heart of a frog? Which of the following tissue is not found in the heart of a frog? Options are as follows: A. Epithelial, B. Connective tissue, C. Muscular tissue, and D. Vascular tissue. Okay. So epithelial tissue is not there, right? Connective, muscular, and vascular tissues are there. Vascular tissue is actually your arteries and veins. Okay. So we will save this and move to our next question. What is the primary focus of morphology in animals? Primary focus on the morphology. What you do in the morphology? Study of internal organ structure, B. Study of evolutionary trends, C. Study of externally visible features of organism, and D. Study of cellular process, right? So the correct answer is option C. Yes. Study of externally visible feature of organism. Whatever you see, the organism, its eyes, its features, its nose, mouth, head, every part externally that is visible. So that is the morphology. So I'll opt the option C, save it, and move to the next question. Which organ system complexity displays an evolutionary trend? Hmm? A. Digestive system. C. B. Both circulatory system. C. Both organ and organ system. And D. Excretory system. So organ system complexity. So first of all, the organ has been formed, and later on the organ system is there, right? So both organ and organ system is the correct answer. Next question. What does anatomy specifically study? What we do in the anatomy part? A. External forms of organ. B. Morphology of internal organ. C. Evolutionary relationships. And D. Cellular organization. Anatomy. Morphology of internal organs, right? Morphology of internal organs. So this is the correct answer. And why is the organization of tissue into the organs essential in the multicellular organisms? A. To increase the number of cells. B. For more efficient and coordinated activities. C. To reduce the metabolic processes. And D. To simplify cellular functions. So, organization of tissue into the organ essential in the multicellular organism for because they become more efficient, right? And more coordinated activities they can do. So this is the correct answer. We will save it, submit the test, and see the result. Okay, our all answers are correct. Okay, so this is all about today's session. We will meet tomorrow, same time. Thank you very much for attending today's session.